Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His mercy brought me back here. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given me the opportunity to continue what we were talking about for the last several weeks before I went away. We have been talking about the wisdom behind all the beliefs and dictates of Sharia. And we started with why do we need deen in the first place? Then why do we need to believe in Allah? Why are we required to believe in the Malaika and the books of Allah and the prophets of Allah? Which is where we finished last time, talking about the belief in the benefits and the prophets of Allah. Today we are going to talk about, inshallah, the belief in Yawm al-Akhirah wa ba'ath ba'd al-Maut. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم اصرفنا من الشيطان الرجيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا رب. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله تعالى والبعث بعد الموت. I believe in Allah, His angels, His books, His messengers, the last day, and the fate, good and bad, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in the resurrection after the death. As I mentioned in the beginning of this whole series that we are talking about, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not asked us, required us to believe in these things just for the sake of it, but there's wisdom behind it. Like, why have we been asked to believe in these things? The belief in Yawm al-Akhirah and the resurrection in the Day of Judgment is a required belief in most religions. We believe it, Jews believe in it, Christians believe in it, and even Hindu believes in it. And other religions have some sort of understanding of the life hereafter. For example, Hindus do believe that there's life after life. But their jaza or saza for people is when they resurrect in their worldly life again. So according to Hindu beliefs, for example, a person dies, and depending upon if he was a good person or a bad person, he would be brought back to life if he was a good person in a body of a good person, better person. If he was a bad person, then he would come back in the bodies of dog and animals and stuff like this. So the jaza and saza keeps going on in the circular life according to their belief. The essence of this belief is the realization that life here is temporary and that there will be a day of judgment and resurrection. As Allah mentioned in the Quran, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ وَإِنَّمَا تُوَفَّوْنَ أُجُورَكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ and ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ لَمَيِّتُونَ ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ تُبْعَثُونَ صدق الله العظيم. Every soul will taste death, and you will only be given your full compensation on the day of resurrection. Very important to remember that part. And you will only be given your full compensation of your deeds on the day of resurrection. So he who is drawn away from the fire and admitted to paradise has indeed achieved success. And what is the life of this world except temporary enjoyment of delusions? And then Allah says, then indeed, after that you are to die, indeed, you on the day of resurrection will be resurrected. When a person dies, the soul is temporarily moved out from the body and is placed in another realm called barzakh. The soul does not die. The soul lives on. And after being removed from the body, the soul is placed in a place called barzakh. This is a temporary holding place for the souls before the time of resurrection. On the day of judgment, all the souls from barzakh will be returned to their new bodies, resurrected bodies, not this body that I'm in right now. It will have a new body to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be held accountable for their deeds in earthly life. This will be our day in court for each one of us. Justice will be done in the most fair way, and the perpetrators, the criminals, will be imprisoned in the hell. Victims will be compensated, and innocents will be admitted to the paradise. We all believe that, don't we? I mean, there's no Muslim in this world, I think, that does not believe in this. However, the interesting thing is that in our daily life, this belief has no implication. This belief we do not benefit from this belief in our daily life at all. And my question to all of us is, why is that? We believe that the life here is temporary. We believe that there's going to be a day of judgment. We believe that we are going to be resurrected. We believe that we are going to be held accountable. We do believe that. Why does not this belief impact our daily life? Why is it that we keep on living as if the Yawm al-Akhirah is not for us? We are just going to go to Jannah because we are Muslims. Why is it that we are never mindful of how we are treating ourselves, how we are treating our family members, how we are treating our children, how we are treating our neighbors and our brothers and sisters, how we are conducting our businesses? Are we being fair, not fair? Are we being truthful or are we lying? Are we concerned about hurting somebody? That if I did this, if I stole from this behavior, this person, or if I did something wrong to this person, that I would have to pay a consequence of hurting this person. Why don't we think this? Any idea? I mean, we see this all around us, right? Like I was talking about Salah, the benefits of the Salah that Allah has mentioned in the Quran, we generally don't see in our life, in a day-to-day life. Similarly, the belief in the Day of Judgment and resurrection, we believe it, but we don't receive any benefits of it. Any ideas why? Because a belief is a mental exercise. A belief is just a mental exercise, an intellectual thing. If the belief does not go into your heart, it has no effect. Like, I'm sure that most all of you were in the khutbah today, am I right? All of you in khutbah today, in Jummah khutbah? And Sheikh Mahmoud, time and time again, has emphasized working on your heart. Am I right? And working on your heart is the top priority because if the heart is not good, if there's facade in the heart, there's facade in the life, in the rest of the body. But the question is, how does one work on the heart? We are supposed to work on our heart, purify our heart, but how does one do this? I'm sure that not often it is explained, like, all right, work on your heart, work on your heart. The heart is the most important part in the daily life of the person. But how to work on the heart, like what to do? Come close. Dhikrullah, dhikrullah. Yeah, you can do dhikrullah and it would help your heart. But even doing zikrullah takes some belief in it. Is that right? And the belief is that remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will purify my heart. Is that right? But you need the thing is this. If the heart does not accept something, it will not benefit from it. Please understand that part. If the heart does not accept something, if the heart has doubts, it will not accept your beliefs. Which is why, like I mentioned many times before, large numbers of people are moving away from their religion, including Muslims, because they say it doesn't make sense. If something doesn't make sense, if your heart does not accept it, it doesn't matter what you believe. And I think this is our major struggle these days, mine and yours and all the Muslims around the world. The heart does not accept what the mind listens and hears. And if the mind accepts it, the mind is not convinced of it. I always explain that there's a difference between a belief and a conviction. And I'm going to explain again. A belief is something that you intellectually think about and believe in. But you have not tested and tried this belief. You have not tested and tried this belief. You know that on a burning stove, if I put a pot of water on it, it will eventually boil. And if I then don't take the pot off of the stove, it will overflow. We experience this in our life all the time, so therefore we believe, we are convinced that if I put my hand on this stove, it's going to burn. Am I right? Nobody has to convince you that this is going to happen because you can actually experience it. The problem with the beliefs of the faith is that you can never experience any of those. Are you with me? The problem with the beliefs in faith is that you can never experience it like an experience in a stove burning your hand. Am I right? Because those beliefs are not experientiable. You cannot in your life experience the God and see Him and touch Him and say, oh, there's a God. Or Malaika. Or the books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or the day of judgment. Or the hell. Or the heaven. Since we cannot directly experience it, the conviction is difficult. Why is it that one of the initial things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked to believe in besides belief in himself. The belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his oneness is the top requirement. And look at the succession of these beliefs. What comes after, what comes after, what comes after, what comes after. After the Allah, you believe in Malaika, you believe in the books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you believe in the prophets. It is through believing in the Malaika, in the books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the prophets, then you can understand the belief in Allah. You see what I'm saying? Then you can understand the belief in Allah. Now, the belief in Yawm al-Qiyamah is extremely important. If a person may believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may believe in the Malaika, may believe in the book, may believe in the prophets, but he is not quite sure if there is a resurrection or there's hell in heaven or that I would be raised again once I have been turned into dust in my grave, that I will be resurrected. Imagine in the Quran how many times the prophets have been asked this question. Are we going to be resurrected once our body and bones have turned into dust? It doesn't make sense. Don't go that far. There are Muslim scholars, one very popular one that I know of has the belief that actually we make our hell and heaven right here on this earth by our deeds. There is nothing hereafter. We make our hell and he has actually written a tafsir of Quran. And he's very popular. And the Europeans, the UK people gave him the surname of Sir. Sir. They give this title to people that they really honor. Why? Because he was leading Muslims astray. They were encouraging him. So it's not just in those days that people questioned it. People question it now. And Muslims may be questioning it now as well. Which is why it is very important that we understand the wisdom and the benefits of why we have been asked to believe in this. I'm going to briefly mention those. This is the only belief. The belief in Yawm al-Qiyamah, resurrection, and accountability is the only belief that keeps us mindful of our daily behavior. This is the only belief that keeps us thinking about what am I saying, how am I behaving, how am I talking, how am I conducting my business, etc., etc., etc. If we did not have this, we will make choices and decisions based on the life here. This is here. That's all there is. It holds us accountable. This belief holds us accountable. It forces me to hold myself accountable. If I behaved like this, if I yelled and screamed at my wife, if I abused my children, I would be held accountable for that. There's no two ways about it. I would be held accountable for that. So when I do pre-marital counseling, when young people come to me and say, what should be some criteria of how I choose a wife or how I choose a husband? The very first thing I suggest to him, see if the person holds himself accountable for how he behaves. Top criteria. See if this person holds himself or herself accountable for what he's doing or she's doing. If he does that, then you know he's going to be a good person. He's not going to treat you badly. He's going to be a mindful person. It brings consistency, therefore, in our character. We don't choose to be good when it doesn't harm us. We don't just choose to be honest when it doesn't harm us. We don't choose to be nice to people when they can't hurt us. It brings consistency in our character. I'm honest and I'll always be honest. Because honesty is what Allah requires. I have to be fair and just because Allah wants me to be fair and just regardless. I'm going to give my rights. I'm going to give the rights of my husband, my wife, my parents, my children, my neighbors. I'm going to give them those rights regardless of whether my rights are given to me or not. It gives you consistency in your character. It gives you stability in your character. We learn to remain, our behavior remains within ethical boundaries and just behavior. We don't keep changing the ethics as it suits us. We don't redefine the ethics principle as it suits us. The principles are given. They cannot be changed by anyone. لا تبديل لكلمات الله. No change in Allah's words. Without this firm conviction, nothing will stop us from becoming totally heedless to how we treat ourselves and others. Self-serving, self-centered, unfair, unjust, uncaring, and totally merciless. Look at this world. How many people are behaving today globally without any mercy? They are not non-believers. They are Jews, they are Christians, and they are Muslims, am I right? And some of them are very educated, and some of them are heads of the state. And look how mercilessly they are behaving. Look how self-centered they are. Look at how they don't care who gets hurt. Look at they only care about themselves and what they want. And anybody who stands in my way has to be eliminated. Do we see this every day? Do we hear it every day? Are we experiencing this every day? This is how we know how important this belief is. Without this, the world would be chaos, which we are getting into right now. A chaos is being created. You can see that. We would, why would anyone want to be any good if this is the only life we have? We would want to make the best of it whichever way we can, without any consideration to who gets hurt, dies because of our actions and choices. Subhanallah. May Allah forgive us. Literally, hundreds of people are being killed mercilessly every day without any consideration globally around the world. for their predicament. Globally, why is that? Because the heart is dead. The heart is not connected truly to your beliefs. The heart is not connecting with your beliefs. That's why people going to call themselves chosen people. Will not question, will be totally given to God, and they're God's people. But look at what they're doing. Is this is this how God's people behave? If we believe that this is the only life we have, then what will be our motives and our efforts everyday life? Number one, make the best of this. Get whatever you want because you're going to die one day. And number two, find ways to increase your lifespan. Find ways to increase this lifespan. Recently, I heard a few days ago, they are doing a research in what they call plasma therapy. Look it up. Plasma therapy. And they're saying but that by using this, inserting this plasma from the blood into the veins of the people, it increases the lifespan, and not only that, it reverses the aging process. Why do they have to do such research? Because this is the only life they have. This is the only life they have. Increase it as much as you can. Or they are thinking about cloning people. Save their DNA so that we can clone them whenever the science has advanced to this stage. These are the dangers of not having this belief. Now we can see the wisdom behind why are we supposed to believe in this. Now, what are the benefits of this? We will always remain humble, kind to ourselves, and merciful to others. Because we know I have to be accountable to myself and to Allah. We will be mindful of our behavior and choices that we make. We will just not make any choice. We will not just go and do whatever our heart desires. We will not go out and buy a new iPhone every year because I want it, without thinking, but this will be waste of money. And I was asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, people who waste the money are the brothers of shayateen. We will not think about it. This is what I want. Everybody has it. What's the problem? I can afford it. We would never intentionally hurt or be unfair and unjust to anyone. And this is very important in our daily family life. We would have more patience. We would have mercy. When we are feeling angry, we will still use the mercy to remain merciful. Yes, we may feel hurt sometimes. We may feel angry sometimes. We may actually be hurt by someone, but we choose to remain patient and still remain merciful, because that's what Allah has asked me to do. We will be honest and fair to people in our personal life, professional life, and our business dealings. If you look at people who are in business, they do not ever think about if they're lying, cheating, not telling the whole truth. They just want to sell their stuff, make the benefit as much as they can. They will never do that. If they were mindful, they would never do that. It reminds me of an example of a common poor person who was mindful. This is a short story from Malaysia. When I was teaching in Kuala Lumpur a number of years ago, every Tuesday there was a bazaar in the city. And people came to sell their things. So I would go down after Isha prayer and just roam around in the bazaar. And there was this stall. This lady was selling something. I don't exactly remember what it was, but I picked up and I wanted to buy something. I gave her the money she wanted. She said, "Wait, put it down. I'm going to give you another one." I said, "How come this is defective?" She was a poor person selling her stuff on the street. She was not rich. She could have easily said, "God, I'm glad it was sold." Am I right? But no, she says, "Don't take it. It has this defect in it." And I said, Subhanallah, there are people like this in the world. Rare, but they are there. But wallahi, each one of us needs to be like this. If we believe in this, each one of us would have to be like this. We will have good moral and ethical values and character. And because of this, Allah will bring us a lot of love and respect from people. Because when Allah loves us, the rest of the world will love us. And the heart will be cleansed. You will never hold a grudge against people. You will never be revengeful. You will always remain merciful. That's what working on the heart is about. That's how you work on the heart and make it healthy and salim, not automatically. I tell you, unless these beliefs become convictions and you live them, if you pray 5 times prayer and tahajjud and nawafil and fast not only Ramadan, but every Friday and Thursday, and do your charity, it will not necessarily cleanse your heart. We would live our life being mindful of our meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which can be any day for any of us. And we would keep preparing our day in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Would not live carelessly. So my dear brothers and sisters, these are the benefits and the wisdom behind why we were asked to believe in this. Does that make sense? Questions? Yes. How can we do it? You question ourselves. We are in the correct path. That's right. How do we know if we are choosing the correct path? Which is where believing in the Quran and the prophets and their sunnahs and traditions. Because it is Quran that gives us the guideline of what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong, what is harmful and what is beneficial. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, lived that. So that's how. Other questions? So we'll stop here, inshallah. And the next time is the last of these required beliefs, which is belief in Qadrullah. And people have lots of difficulty with that as well. So this will be, inshallah, next Friday, and that would conclude the series of talk on wisdom and benefits behind the beliefs of Islam. Then we'll, inshallah, shift into the practices of Islam. And what is the wisdom behind 5-time prayers? What is the wisdom behind ablution? What is the wisdom behind fasting and Hajj and Zakat, etc., etc.? As long as we don't understand the wisdom behind it, it can go anytime. We can let it go anytime. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us steadfast on these beliefs. Somebody asked me, how do I know? Let me just think for a minute what she said. Somebody asked me, if I cannot experience these things, then how can I have conviction? And I said, some things we cannot see, but we can experience through the science of it. Am I right? We cannot see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we can see the signs of His presence all around us. And then, if we have the qalb salim, it brings us to the right conclusions. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a steadfastness in our beliefs. May Allah forgive our weaknesses. May Allah open the eyes of Muslims around the world and remove our blindness and the veils from our eyes. And may Allah protect us from the dhulm and the makr of rape of non-believers. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم وبارك وسلم. ربنا تقبل منا صلاتنا وقيامنا وركوعنا وسجودنا ودعاءنا. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب الميزان. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم توفنا مسلمين، اللهم توفنا مسلمين، اللهم توفنا مسلمين والحقنا بالصالحين غير خزايا والمفتونين. اللهم أصلح أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اغفر أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم تجاوز عن أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم احفظهم، اللهم انصرهم بكل مكان من كل سوء يا الله. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك. لا إله إلا الله.